I had a dream of the sun rising from the west. We're overdue a geomagnetic reversal. We are the last generation left on Earth. Fight to go to Mars and live on Mars.
Okay.
The Imam Al-Mahdi has come.
How do you know he's not a liar?
He's truthful. It's going to be a massive shock. Noah's Ark has actually been found. They purposefully cover it up.
You figured out how to time travel.
I have made some sort of scientific discovery.
Have you had experiences with the jinn? Do you want to go into it or not?
It said that
Iblis knows who I am.
The demonic history of emojis, time travel, end of times, red heifers, anti-Islamic messages hidden in movies. These are some of the things my guest today has been going viral for. Prepare to get your mind blown. It's time to get unchained. Tariq Talks, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you.
Was you born a Muslim?
Everyone's born Muslim,
Right.
but I was raised to be a Christian. I went to a Christian school. My mum was Christian. It was up until 7 years old. And obviously when I was a child, my dad was in prison. I didn't really know him too well. So he came out, completely changed his life around, went from being on the streets to praying, going to the mosque. And he taught me about Islam. And automatically, at first I was just like, Christianity is the truth. But when as soon as he started talking about Islam and he started talking about the prophets and the messengers, I couldn't deny it. It was already what I believed. I already believed in Abraham and Moses. So I straight away pretty much said I wanted to be a Muslim.
Did you take your shahada with your dad then?
I did, yeah, 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
I never really practiced it. I believed it was true, and I found it so interesting because Islam is a vast religion, and there's so many different parts of it. You've got the world of the unseen, the signs of the Day of Judgment, the scientific miracles in the Quran. All of this stuff I found fascinating, but I didn't practice it up until it was 2019, where I had a dream of the sun rising from the west, and that was the turning point. I just, that day changed my life.
So when you had that dream, did you already know about that's one of the major signs, isn't it? Did you already know that was one of the major signs?
I knew about the signs of the Day of Judgment. It was something which me, my brother, my cousin, when we were growing up, we used to watch like a couple of videos here and there on YouTube. Over the years, I'd gathered knowledge on that topic, but I didn't expect that dream. That was very unexpected.
And dreams are quite important in Islam, aren't they?
Absolutely.
So how do you know if that dream was just because, maybe you were researching about the end of times and, it might have been a dream from your nafs? How do you distinguish what dream is a true dream and what dream is just things that you might have been experiencing or thinking about during the day?
So there's 3 types of dreams. There's one dream which is from Allah. There's another dream which is from shaitan, and there's a third dream which is from your own nafs. Now, when it's from shaitan, usually you feel pain or you get scared. When it's from yourself, the dream doesn't make any sense. It's just random. It's all over the place. But this dream was vivid and it was clear. And it was also a guidance for me as well. And that's what al-mubasharat is. That's what divine dreams are, is they are a form of guidance or they're a warning. And that dream was both of those.
We started going into like the end of time stuff already. So let's just stick with that sort of theme.
Yeah.
I understand you're quite interested in the end of times. Do you believe we're living in the end of times now?
I do believe so.
And what makes you think that we're living in the end of times now?
Well, all of the signs have pretty much happened already, and there's only a couple left. You obviously know what's going on in the world right now is very, very sad, and it indicates that we are living in the end of times, 100%.
How many signs are left to happen? Before
the major signs happen, there's only really one, and that's the Mahdi. The Euphrates River drying up, that is another minor sign, but
that's already started happening, hasn't it?
It's started happening, but whether, when it fully dries, will the mountain of gold be found after Imam Mahdi or before Imam Mahdi? We don't know, but the signs will happen very, very close to each other. It doesn't really matter what comes first. Once the first major sign happens, the rest of them will follow. And the same with the minor signs. Some minor signs will happen after the major signs will occur.
Yeah.
Left, right and centre. Sign here, sign there.
But there's definitely more than one though, isn't it? We haven't had the sun rising from the west yet either.
Yeah, that's one of the major signs that hasn't happened yet. But
you're talking about minor, there's one minor sign that hasn't happened, and that's the Euphrates River.
Yeah. That's the only minor sign. Pretty much all the other minor signs have happened. And yeah, with the sun rising from the west, we are seeing signs of that happen right now. The scientists are saying that we're overdue a geomagnetic reversal, which is when the north and the south poles switch. And the Earth's magnetic field is weakening at an alarming rate. So we're seeing signs of this now. So in the next couple of years, you never know, maybe even sooner, the sun might rise.
So do you think the Mahdi is someone that's going to appear in our lifetime?
100%. We are the last generation left on Earth.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's what I believe. And I believe that the Imam Al-Mahdi has already come.
Okay. And you think that is who?
Muhammad Qasim ibn Abdul
I had an inkling that might be the person you're going to message because, as you know, I've interviewed Nasser ibn Abid, so we've talked extensively about Muhammad Qasim and his dreams, and I've researched a lot about it as well. So you're obviously a Muhammad Qasim believer.
I'm a believer in what the Prophet, peace be upon him, said. And I believe that Muhammad Qasim is Imam Al-Mahdi based on what the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, has said, based on the signs of the Day of Judgment. And like we spoke about, as I was a kid, I watched a lot of videos about the signs of the Day of Judgment. This is a topic or an area which I'm very familiar with. So when I come and I say these things, I have hadiths, I have proof from the Quran and from the Sunnah to prove this.
Yeah.
But I did an open challenge on my video on TikTok. And the open challenge was, if anyone disagrees with me, provide a single verse or hadith. And no one could do it. I told them, I said, if you say, this guy is lost, haha, this guy don't take knowledge, that's not a hadith. You need to bring something from the hadith.
And I've noticed that because I'm always joining in, lives of people that I follow on TikTok and stuff. So, I join in lives on NASA's channel, I join in your lives, and majority of the time, probably all of the time, what I'm seeing on the comments is they're not bringing anything solid to the table. As you said, there's no hadiths, there's no really logical sort of arguments being put forward. And as someone who, I would say, I sit on the fence. I don't completely reject the idea, I don't completely go along with it, but as someone who's sitting on the fence who wants to get to the truth, because we all want to know what the truth is, I've not really heard anything from the other side that makes me think, oh yeah, this is a load of nonsense. So why are they not listening to what you got to say about Muhammad Qasim and his dreams?
History repeats itself, I think. If you look at throughout history, every prophet and messenger that came to their people to spread the message of Tawheed, the oneness of Allah, every single one of them was mocked and they was made fun of. It didn't mean that these people were lunatics. It just shows the human nature. That is how they behave when they reject the truth. And the behavior that you see from the people who reject the truth, this is the reaction of people who reject the truth. They don't come with hadith, they don't come with Quran. If they were coming from the Quran or the hadith, they would have agreed with us and said, yes, let's unite upon Tawheed. But instead of joining us and helping us remove shirk, they didn't.
Obviously, I would love to be a part of something that, it's been ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But the thing is, when I look at it, I say to myself, how can I prove these dreams are real? How can I prove that Muhammad Qasim's not lying? Like, how do you know he's not a liar?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. So there are some things, sometimes in life, at that moment in time, you cannot prove something there and then when you're put on the spot. You have to have faith, right? It's one of the qualities of a believer is having faith, knowing that you cannot prove every single thing, but you believe in it. I can't prove the punishment of the grave.
It's quite an important aspect, isn't it? If we're talking about the eschatological side of Islam, the Mahdi is like a major sign, more or less.
Absolutely,
isn't it?
absolutely.
So Islam doesn't tend to leave you pondering too much. Is quite straightforward and things make sense.
Absolutely.
When you look into Islam. So
you have two things, right? There's the proof and then there's the faith as well. You can't have one without the other. So, in the early days when the Mahdi is here, there will be a group of people, not many of them, they will recognize who it is. And how they will recognize him, I think, is a miracle of Allah. It's Allah will show these individuals some signs and they will push that this guy is the Mahdi. And there will be other Muslims who will not believe it at first. And eventually those Muslims that will speak against the Mahdi will eventually end up supporting him when they find out who it is. But, you said, how do we know? I was getting onto that question. How do we know that his dreams are from Allah? How do we know he's not lying about the dreams? Well, we have to wait for them to come true. So for me, there was a little bit of a leap of faith. I knew that a couple of his dreams had come true, which was a proof for me that this person was telling the truth. And I myself have been accused of lying when I wasn't lying. And I said certain things, and the things that I said to defend myself were the exact same things that Qasim said to defend himself. So me being in that same position where I was accused of lying when I wasn't lying, and I see this man is reacting to the situation the exact same way I reacted to the situation, I'm like, yeah, he's truthful. But other people, they haven't gone through those experiences. So for them, it's just a matter of, are the dreams going to come true or are they not? And if you look at the dreams, they have been coming true. The Nawaz Sharif dream has come true. The Four Moons dream has come true. Many have come true. Off the top of my head, there's so many, I don't even know where to start.
With Nawaz Sharif, he one of his dreams, wasn't he meant to rise back to a position of power?
I don't recall that.
No.
He would return to Pakistan.
Yeah, which did happen. And there was a particular individual who was going to go against him in the dream, and that particular individual is the Prime Minister now. Oh, okay.
So, and this was mentioned many, many years back.
Was that in his dream that this particular individual become Prime Minister?
Not explicitly mentioned that I saw that he would become the Prime Minister, but he was going to run against Nawaz Sharif, which happened.
Okay.
So there is a truth to them, there is a reality to them, and these are signs for the Ummah.
I'll tell you the one big one is Nawaz Sharif getting taken out. If that happens, then we got to say, okay, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you're already sold, but someone like me who's like, okay, just sitting and watching, we're going to have to wait and see on that.
Like I said, to Brother Nasser, he looks like the Mahdi to me. He fits the exact description. He's got the forehead, the nose, he's wearing green.
Yeah.
He's from Ahlul Bayt, he's from Quraysh. His name matches the name in the hadith.
But the thing is, people, listening to this will say, well, I don't know that. I haven't seen his lineage. For me to be able to be so sure. Have you seen his lineage?
Have I seen his lineage? Yes, I have. I've seen the family tree. But it's not something that he promotes. In fact, this guy doesn't want to be the Mahdi. And a lot of people, they don't understand that. He doesn't want this title. He doesn't want this position. Do you know the amount of responsibility it takes to be the Mahdi? Do you know how strong of a heart you have to put up with the daily death threats, the daily verbal abuse? That is not something that anyone would want for
that's
themselves.
True. That is something that I thought about myself. Like, if you're trying to become famous or, get women or get money, get power, making up these dreams about I'm speaking to God and this, that and the other, it's like, it's not the sort of direction you probably want to take, because you'd just be throwing yourself under the bus.
Absolutely.
Because when it doesn't come to fruition, people are going to be looking at you saying...
If this was about, fame and money, believe me, there's many.
But then again, there are people in
Pakistan.
He's from Pakistan. There are people in Pakistan that, claim that they're the Mahdi.
Yeah, but they claim, and that's the thing. That's what disqualifies them, is that they're claiming. Qasim is not claiming at all.
His dreams kind of indicate that he is, though. So it's kind of a grey area, isn't it?
The dreams.
Because he's seen Jesus pray behind him, peace be upon him.
Yeah.
Whilst he's not saying, I am the Mahdi, I'm not the Mahdi, don't call me the Mahdi, but I've had this dream where Jesus, peace be upon him, is praying behind me. I'm just saying.
Well, the thing is, think of it from this perspective, right? There's two possibilities. Either he's lying that he had that dream, or he's telling the truth that he had that dream. And if he did have that dream, should he lie and say that he didn't have the dream when he did? So there has to be a way for the Muslims to recognize the Mahdi without him claiming to be the Mahdi.
And there was one dream as well where he was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that tell the people, if they don't take heed of, these dreams, that they're going to be tasting my punishment. So if that was the case, where we'll be punished for not believing in these dreams, wouldn't it be more obvious to not, lead us to the hellfire, so to speak?
What do you mean?
He had a dream where he says, Qasim, as the people believed your dreams, and he said, a few.
Yeah.
The rest of them don't believe my dreams.
Yeah.
And then Allah tells him, tell the people if they don't believe in your dreams, then get ready for the punishment. Do you know the dream I'm talking about?
I know which one. I made the video on that dream.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So if that was the case, like, I understand the main message of his dreams was to eradicate shirk. So obviously, if you don't agree with that, then, you know, you're falling outside of Islam anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
But does that also mean we need to believe in the dreams about Nawaz Sharif and all the other dreams as well?
Once the evidence becomes clear, my opinion is yes. There are some people who are waiting, and that's fine if they take that neutral position. But once all the dreams start coming true, and then you carry on, then yeah, absolutely. Right now, we're still in early days. So, you know, there are going to be people who are going to be waiting for the dreams to come true. And, you know, right now, you know, we're not saying that anyone has to believe in these dreams. We're not forcing anyone to believe in those dreams. But once the dreams start coming true, once they start becoming evident, if you're attacking this man, that's not right. Imagine I say to you, there's only one God, right? Imagine I say, you should only worship Allah, and you call me a liar.
But the thing is, yeah, I understand what you're saying. But in defense of those people that might be saying things like that, perhaps they're not saying it because they don't agree with that aspect of Muhammad Qasim. But perhaps they're saying it because they think he's just another person wanting to get a name for himself, coming out of Pakistan saying, I'm having these dreams. But if we think about it, is it possible that he knows about the hadiths and he has the wide forehead and his name's Muhammad, and he thought, okay, maybe this is my, you know, chance to make a name for myself? Is it possible?
I don't think that is a possibility. No. Personally, no. He is a very kind-hearted individual. He's a very good person. He's an honest person. I can see that. I can see that from one honest person to another. And I know that my viewers know that I'm not lying. You know, I've heard the conversations, you know, I've had messages from certain people who oppose me, and they know that I'm not a liar. So the people who are going around saying these things, they themselves are the liars. And like I said, I can recognize that truthfulness in Qasim. And one of the things that he said is, before people started saying that his dreams are like the dreams of the Mahdi, he did not even know what Imam Mahdi was. He never heard of these things. He's not a scholar. He's not anyone religious. He's just an ordinary person who has these dreams. And one of the things he also said is that when he was younger, he thought that it was normal to have those kinds of dreams. He just thought that everyone had those dreams, but they just didn't talk about it. So he didn't share his dreams. He kept it to himself for years. He only started sharing it with other people when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, came into his dream and commanded him to share it. So for the people who are saying to him, oh, you shouldn't be spreading these dreams, are you saying that he should disobey what the Prophet, peace be upon him, has ordered him to do? You know, we should obey Allah and we should obey his messenger, not random people in the TikTok comments.
So you think we're living in the end of times and we're the last generation?
100%.
So that must mean that within that time frame, Muhammad Qasim is going to become the Imam Mahdi. Does that also mean Jesus is going to appear in our lifetime?
Allah knows best how long we will live for, but he will appear in our generation, absolutely. Pray that I get to see Isa alayhi salam. That would be an amazing, amazing thing. But yes, there are many people alive today who will live up until the Day of Judgment.
Wow.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That is wild, bro. So, moving on.
Yeah.
Because I've already talked a lot about Muhammad Qasim in my podcast. I'm probably one of the few people who has a podcast that talks about Muhammad Qasim, but...
oh, gosh.
Don't trash the place, bro. Yeah, so with Muhammad Qasim, his main message is the eradication of shirk, most importantly, modern forms of shirk. So can you go into that a bit more? Because I didn't really go into that a lot of NASA, so maybe we can go a bit more into what are modern forms of shirk. There's a lot of hidden forms of shirk as well.
Absolutely.
So if you can go into a bit of that.
Yeah, so the Prophet, peace be upon him, basically informed Qasim that the world today has never been filled with as much shirk as it is now. Okay, so you look around, right? The Muslims are so big in number. There are more Muslims than ever before. There are more Muslims going to Hajj than ever before. There are more Muslims praying than ever before. There are more Muslims giving zakat and giving charity, sadaqah, than ever before. But why is this happening? And the reason why is shirk, right? Idolatry, polytheism. The Quran tells us that the greatest injustice is shirk, associating partners with Allah. And we see it everywhere, but we don't know that it's there. This is why we have a mujaddid every 100 years, to remind us, because we forget. This isn't anything new.
Can you explain that word again?
Mujaddid.
Just in case there's viewers watching and don't know what that means.
So mujaddid is like a religious leader, right? Like someone who comes every 100 years, like a khalifa, like a successor.
A successor, okay,
yeah, someone like that. And that's what the Mahdi is he comes, and his mission is to remove polytheism and to establish monotheism. Because that's what Islam is. Islam is monotheism. It's the religion that every prophet, peace be upon him, came with. So today, we have forms of shirk everywhere. You look, you've got idols everywhere. You've got pictures everywhere. Now, one of the 99 names of Allah is the fashioner. Right? Allah is the one who gives us our shape. He gives us our form. He created the cat, the dog, the dolphin, the birds, the jinns. The jinns have animals as well. They have their own animals.
There's jinn animals?
Yes, so we have our animals.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so we have cats, dogs, and all of that. The jinns have their own animals as well. And there's creatures that Allah has created that we don't even know about. Yeah, so all of these different creations that Allah made, is Allah that fashioned them. It's Allah that gave them their form. So only Allah has the right to create some images. So according to the hadith, what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us is that the ones on the Day of Judgment who will have the worst punishment are the image makers, right? The ones who create idols and pictures and whatnot. And they'll be told on the Day of Judgment to put life into it, and they will not be able to do so. And they'll be put into the hellfire. So this means things like drawing, sculpting of living things with a soul is completely prohibited in Islam, and you should destroy such images and repent. Even if it's a silhouette, even if it's a shadow, even if it's anything in a likeness, anything that resembles something living, we cannot have it in our homes because the angels do not enter.
We've always known about that from the hadiths. For instance, the curtains which Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, tore up and wouldn't enter the house, and things like that. So what is new about this message that we're receiving?
Oh, there's nothing new about it.
But in terms of modern day forms,
in terms of modern forms of shirk, it's in places where you just don't expect it. So rather than being on the curtains, it could be on your cup, it could be on your hat.
So this cup here, my coffee cup, I don't know if you can see that. It's got an image of a sheep. Would that be shirk?
We don't say it's shirk within itself. We say it's a form of shirk. So I would cover that up. I would cover that up with maybe some tape or some, you can use some Tipex, nail varnish, whatever it is, depending on the size of what it is. But we have these things everywhere. We have Lacoste, Jordan, we have big billboards, we have it on our packaging, on our hair dye. We've got the pictures of the ladies with the different colour hair. Not just hair dye, cat food as well. You buy cat food, it's got a picture of a cat on there. And people might think, oh, well, we're not worshipping it, so why can't we have it? Well, you see, the angel Jibril alayhi salam did not enter the house of the Prophet, peace be upon him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, the greatest man to walk the face of this earth, Jibril alayhi salam didn't go into his house because there was an image in there. So that's a big deal. We don't see it as a big deal, but for Allah, it's a big deal because Allah is a jealous God. Yeah, Allah only wants us to worship Him and Him alone. It's not, we're going to give 50% to Allah and we're going to give 50% to someone. No. None of that in Islam. It's 100%.
But isn't intention important as well, and context?
Well,
because obviously, I said in my interview with NASA, if I have a packet of cornflakes, is that committing shirk? Obviously, I'm not idolizing it. I'm not praying towards it. It's in my cupboard. The use of it is to hold the cereal.
Yeah.
So
the use of the box itself has a purpose, but the image itself doesn't have a purpose. So
this is going back to that hadith of like the images on the curtains. You're not drawing any sort of line between either, because really and truly, you can have curtains that don't have images on them and it would still do the same job.
Exactly.
So the message here is that it might be on your toothpaste or on a packet of cornflakes. It's essentially the same thing. It
is the same thing, but in different forms. And that's what the Mahdi is here to do. He's here to abolish shirk in all forms, not just one. And not only that, it's pictures. That is how polytheism first started. If you look at all of the polytheistic religions in the world, what do they pray to other than Allah? They pray to a picture or an idol. They got a picture of a blue woman on the wall with 4 arms, or they got an elephant head, or they got a picture of a white man who they think is Jesus, but it's not, and they pray to it. That is the root of polytheism. So this is why Allah, he doesn't want us to go anywhere near it, because we Muslims have to be different from the polytheists. If we've got pictures of people hanging up on our wall, then what's the difference between us and the polytheists?
It's interesting because I was watching a video of Bilal Assad. He was talking about, the Turkish eyes.
Yeah.
People wearing necklaces and earrings and stuff like that. That could be a form of shirk as well. If you believe it's a form of shirk, protecting you or giving you good luck or something like that. But in the video that I watched, he was saying if you don't believe it has any powers and you're just wearing it for fashion, maybe you like the way it looks, maybe it matches what you're wearing, then it can be permissible.
Can I wear a cross if I don't believe in it around my neck? I just think it's a fashion statement.
Well, this is what kind of the message sounded like in Bilal Assad's video, so perhaps he could clear that up.
But this
in terms of the cross, I know it has a religious subcontext to it as well, doesn't it?
Well, yes, it's a symbol for the Christians. They believe that Jesus was crucified, and they use this cross. They have the crucifix. They use it to commit shirk. Sometimes they believe that this cross, wearing it around their neck, is going to protect them, right? If you look at the cross, it's not even an idol, is it? It's not even a picture of a cat or a dog, yet it's still a form of shirk. Right, because it's associated with that. And it's the same with the evil eye. The evil eye, people, they believe that this evil eye is going to protect them. So I have to correct Bilal Assad. The truth is, if you do believe that it is going to protect you, then that is major shirk. You've disbelieved in what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, came with. If you are just wearing it for a fashion statement, but you don't believe in it, then this is minor shirk. So it doesn't take you outside of the fold of Islam. But if you do not repent from it, then you'll be in big trouble on the Day of Judgment.
So I just want to say Bilal Assad does fantastic work.
Absolutely.
None of us are perfect.
Absolutely.
And so inshallah, maybe this message can get to Bilal Assad, and perhaps he could, think about it again and have a look into that topic, because, it's something that many Muslims are doing nowadays, and we want to be sure that, what we're doing is the right thing.
Absolutely. Bilal Assad, I used to watch his videos growing up, and the same with a lot of these sheikhs that I've contacted. I watched all of their videos growing up, and mashallah, there's benefit in their message, but we are in the end times. Yeah, we're very far away from prophethood. The Prophet, peace be upon him, came 1,400 years ago, and the nature of man is that we forget. So this is only a reminder of what we already know. No one's coming and telling you to worship an elephant. We're saying only worship Allah. So unite, all the scholars, Mufti Menk, Dr. Zakir Naik, all of us should agree upon Tawheed. And if you cannot do that, then there's something seriously wrong.
You mentioned something quite interesting, and something I think about a lot is that Jesus, Prophet Isa, peace be upon him, you referred to him as a white man.
No, I'm saying the pictures.
He's depicted
as a
white man with blonde hair and blue eyes. The truth of the matter is, the part of the world that he's from, in all likeliness, he was a brown man.
Yeah.
And I think it's important as well when you look at these quote-unquote racist people talking bad about Muslims, but what they fail to realize is that a lot of the prophets were probably brown and black. But these prophets, particularly Jesus, are depicted as being white.
He's not just depicted as being white.
Yeah.
There are some black Christians who depict Jesus as being a black man. Yeah. I've seen it. Sometimes they depict Jesus as a black man with an afro. I just think these people are trying to portray God the way that they want their God to be, not the way he really is.
Relatable.
Yeah, exactly. People who want, you have some black people who they try and push this narrative that, black people are gods, or we've got something special about us. And that's probably why they depict their God as a black man. We have Nation of Islam as well. They do the exact same thing. They think God is a black man, but he's not a man. This is what we're trying to say. These false gods, abandon them and just worship Allah.
You found out something about emojis.
Yes.
If you live under a rock and don't know what emojis are, they're the little faces, smiley faces, heart eye faces that you get on your mobile phone, your smartphones, and people use them to express feelings in messages. But you found out that there's a darker subcontext to them.
Yes.
Can you go into that?
Absolutely. So we know that Shaitan likes to hide things. He likes to put hidden symbols in our films, in our movies, cartoons, whatnot. And emojis are no exception. So I found out about this. The actual fact that emojis were shirk themselves was through Qasim. Qasim had a dream where Allah informed him that emojis are a form of shirk, or a modern form of shirk. It's one of the many modern forms. And when I first heard that, I had a hard time understanding it. I believed him because I knew he was truthful. You know, Allah showed me some signs personally that I knew that this man was truthful. So I didn't doubt the fact that emojis were a form of shirk, but I just didn't understand how until we stumbled upon something. And me and Nizam, we worked together and we tried to decode these emojis, and there is a dark truth to them.
You're going to be a party pooper and tell us now that we can't use these cute little faces in our messages anymore?
There's no compulsion in religion. Everyone can do what they want, but actions have consequences, isn't it?
Okay, you need to show me.
Yeah.
You need to show me.
I'm just going to get it up here. Okay, so as you can see here on the left, these are
I see it, man.
These are demon sigils, right? These are pictorial versions of a demon's name, and this is the same sigils, the same magic sigils that black magicians use in witchcraft. And there are many videos online teaching people how to do witchcraft. And this is what Satan wants. Satan wants everyone doing it without realizing it. And he wants you not to think it's a big deal, right? And when people find out, some people, when they find out that emojis are shirk, guess what? They do it even more. So they're falling into the trap of the shaitan. The shaitan wants you to do it. He wants me to do it. He wants the kids to do it. You know, I was thinking about this recently. I wouldn't be surprised if one day, if they started teaching black magic in schools, like Hogwarts, literally a witchcraft class. With the way that things are going down, I would not be surprised. And this should be no surprise as well.
So run me through these emojis, man.
Yes.
So the first one there, I can see the resemblance, which is why I reacted like that. So you've got it's like an angry face, right? With the two puffs coming out. You can see those two crosses there, like the eyes and the eyebrows. And then you've got the two lines coming down in that sigil, which represents an emoji, the smoke. So I do see the resemblance there. The second one now, the laughing face, for me, that's hard to deny, that one.
Yeah.
That one's hard to deny.
It's a unique shape, isn't it? You know, if you look at these demon sigils as well, I don't want to repeat these demon names because these are the names of the shayateen. But Baal, right? Baal. It's a false god mentioned directly in the Quran. And it's also an idol that the pagans used to worship.
So this is the thing as well. It doesn't have to be images, because when you think about the fashion brand, Balenciaga, I think that spells out Baal is God.
Baal is king.
Baal is king.
Yes.
So essentially, you could have people walking around praying in a T-shirt that says Baal is king.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Same
that.
with Nike. You know, Nike or Nike is the name of a false god.
Yes, it was a Greek goddess, wasn't it?
Yeah. And Muslims are wearing this and we're praying. You know, and Nike has done some very questionable
They
things.
have. I've seen it. They tried to hide things into their trainers.
Yeah, Nike tried to put basically Allah's name on their shoes and on their slippers or sandals, whatever you might call them.
Astaghfirullah.
So that people are walking on the name of Allah. You know, it's like a form of disrespect. So Shaitan has declared war on the Muslims, and he's done this since the beginning. And Allah has given him respite until the Day of Judgment. You know, Shaitan is not a prehistoric animal. He's here right now, and he's working harder than ever before. And I think Shaitan knows that the hour is coming. I think Shaitan knows that the time is coming to an end. So now is his golden opportunity to get as much of us as he wants. So it's no surprise.
So go through more of these emojis with me. Again, that one, man. I don't know how you would describe that. It's like a sort of frustrated sort of emoji. You can see the teeth there matching up and the eyes matching up. Another one that's hard to deny. Again, that one with the two crosses matching. I don't really see the mouth wide open in the sigil on that one, but definitely the eyes crossed. That one there, the nerdy one.
You can see the two little buck teeth.
The two little butt teeth. Yes, I see that. Yeah, I was gonna say that one, maybe not, but then when you pointed out those two little butt teeth, definitely, yeah.
This is the
That's
thing with
crazy.
sigils, right? With magic, it is based on intention, you know. And although the person themselves who are sharing the sigil, they themselves are not having the intention to do black magic, but the person who created the sigil created that sigil with an intention. And that's how magic works, is that it doesn't have to be exactly the same. They have a desired outcome, they do whatever they got to do, and that's it.
What's the history behind these sigils?
Magic sigils, it goes back to Babylon. It goes back to Harut and Marut, the two angels that taught the people black magic as a trial from Allah. It was a test. This is where it roots back to, and that's why the book, they call it the Lesser Key of Solomon. That is the name of the black magic book. And the reason why is because the disbelievers accused King Solomon, peace be upon him, of doing black magic, and they associated it with him, although he didn't. And Allah defends him in the Quran. And Allah says Sulaiman was not a disbeliever. So that means that anyone who does magic, intentionally of course, is a disbeliever. And if you're doing it unintentionally, if you're sharing these emojis and you don't realize it, you must repent. You must seek Allah's forgiveness, you know. And people say, oh, well, we didn't know, so therefore we can't be at sin. Well, look at these Christians that are worshipping Jesus. Do you think they know that they're polytheists? They don't know. They're completely blind. They're completely unaware. That's not an excuse on the Day of Judgment. We have an intellect. We need to repent. You've got to take accountability.
So the video that you done for the emojis, that went viral, didn't it?
That one got 300k.
300k, still a lot. So that's a lot of people that now know about this. Has it reached anyone of note?
I think it may have reached Ali Dawa, but they haven't commented on it. They haven't said anything. And this is the thing, is people are remaining silent on topics that need to be discussed. You know, shirk is not a matter of opinion. It's not something that is, you know, oh, it's okay if you do it on Thursday, just don't do it on Monday. You have to avoid it at all costs. So I don't know if it's reached anyone, but if it has reached them, you need to speak out about it and you need to warn your followers. Every single one of us is responsible, right? If on the Day of Judgment, let's say I have social media, I have TikTok, I have a big following, and I'm giving the wrong verdict. Let's say I tell my 1 million followers, yeah, no problem, it's okay, you can use emojis. What's going to happen? I'm going to have a partial responsibility for everyone else who starts doing it because I said it was okay. You know, the first ever person to kill someone, you know the story of Cain and Abel. There were two brothers, the children of Adam. One killed the other one. And that was the first ever man to kill another human being. And it is said that from then, every other human being who killed another human being, he will have a portion of that sin. Because he started the chain. So there's no scholar in Islam, from early Islam, that said that this was okay. So if we have to say that this is permissible, we now have to provide the proof. Otherwise, you're going to be held accountable on the Day of Resurrection. That's how I see it.
It's undeniable that the resemblance is striking, man. And so, you know, I won't be using emojis anymore. So, but if these guys are seeing this, you know, people of note within the Ummah, and not saying anything about it, surely that's not right either. Surely if they see that, they should be spreading the message.
They should be speaking out against it. You remember what happened to the wife of Prophet Lut, alayhi salam, right? She didn't have a problem with it. She didn't speak out against it. What happened to her? She got destroyed with them. So they're speaking out against it. And another thing is, you're not promoting it, but at the same time, you are doing nothing to help the situation. And it's not something like, oh, you know, something small. We're talking about shirk here, you know? You as a scholar, you as a person of influence have a huge responsibility on your shoulders. And there is no harm in avoiding emojis. If I stop using emojis, am I going to lose my job? Am I going to lose my house because I didn't put a smiley face? What's going to happen? Nothing. In fact, benefits will happen. Blessings will come once you stop using it. I know people who said after they stopped using emojis, they felt better. They felt closer to Allah. I look back on all them years that, we used to use it without realizing it, and it don't feel right still. I don't know why people don't have that feeling of guilt. Oh, I sinned, I did wrong, let's turn back to Allah. But I think the problem is they don't see anything wrong with it. And that's why they carry on doing it.
So is it just the faces, or is it all emojis?
It's pretty much most of them, including the ones of the activities like lifting the weights, skiing, or, using the, what do they call it? The surfboard, running on the treadmill, all of those ones, riding the bike, the wheelchair man, pretty much all of the ones of living creatures. There's a sigil that goes with it.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's been done intentionally.
So who's creating these emojis?
Unicode. Yeah, and they're very specific with how they do it. So before Unicode established the emoji system, your country might have different emojis to my country. So if I send you emojis that are not on your phone, it will just appear as like a black box.
Yeah.
But they had to make it universal, and they're very specific with what emoji goes where, to the point where even the Samsung emojis, the Apple emojis, the Microsoft emojis, they're all based on the same magic sigil system. It is not just the iOS ones. So people saying, oh, I'm on Android, I'm fine. Nope, you're not. Stop using it.
It just makes me think though, because they're not new, they're quite old, these emojis as well. So it's deep, man. Like, just thinking about the people that designed them, the graphics department, like who's telling them to make it like this, make it look similar to this sigil I'm showing you. Like, it leads me to the next topic as well, about these hidden anti-Islamic messages that you found in Marvel movie.
Yes, Marvel, yeah. So that was one of the videos that went viral, got 2.7 million views, and Ali Dawah actually posted it on his page. My uncle is an Islam hater, right? He disrespects the Prophet, peace be upon him. Doesn't like Islam, yeah. But he's my uncle, unfortunately. Yeah. But anyway, he goes to me and he says...
He's locked in the cupboard, man.
He says to me, he goes, all of my friends are posting your video. I was like, yeah, look at it, man. Like,
that's one of the things about going viral though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you try to keep it away from certain people within your life, but then when you go viral, it's like everyone's seen it, man.
Yeah, but it was good, and may Allah reward Ali Dawah for that.
Yeah.
Since then, now people have been saying
that's good, but he needs to also give his thoughts and opinions on this emoji stuff, because what I'm seeing with that emoji stuff is hard to deny. Gotta be honest.
At the end of the day, there's no justification for sihr or black magic or anything close to it. If you can clearly see that there's a link, why are you going to go anywhere near it?
There's a reason why they made it look like that, because they didn't have to make it look like the sigils, did they? They could have made it look like anything, just normal faces. Why did they base it on these sigils?
Believe it or not, the magicians, they use this in their magic, and they'll have a certain intention and they'll create the spell, and they'll mix that spell. I'm teaching people how to do magic now, God forbid. But essentially, there's a desired outcome that the magicians want to achieve when they do these spells. So let's say, for example, they might want to do a spell for money. There's an emoji for that. If they want a spell because they want a particular guy to find them attractive, or to slide into their DMs, they can maybe use some flirtatious emojis to start getting him to
So it's like subconsciously having an effect. So when you use one of these emojis, it could be subconsciously having an effect on the person you're sending it to.
Absolutely, I think it does. One of the things I noticed as well is that you might see a video that's dead serious, but then some goose in the comments decided to do laughing emojis.
That's true.
And now everyone starts laughing. You don't even know why you're laughing.
That is true, I do notice that, like, when I'm in people's lives, and if there's trolls, you get one that'll start using laughing emoji, and all of a sudden you've got 100 people doing the same thing.
I don't recommend doing this, okay? But this was something that I did. I'm not proud of it. It was something that I did, before I knew emojis were a form of shirk. But if you take a very, very serious video, and you put a laughing emoji on there, the people will comment laughing emojis. It could be any video. It could be a video of the Queen giving a speech. The moment you put laughing emojis on there, it does have an effect on the people. It could be a dead serious video. And that was one of the things that I did when I was younger, is I basically made a fake meme. I took a picture, which was just an ordinary picture. There was nothing funny about it. And I put a laughing emoji on there, and people were laughing at the picture.
It's wild, man. The human mind is so complex that we can't comprehend how much something could actually have an effect on us without us even knowing. So these anti-Islamic messages that you found in movies such as the Marvel movie, which Ali Dawa posted to his channel as well. Can you go into how you stumbled across this?
That's a very good question. So it's actually a long story. So I was writing a book about astronomy. It's a book about the different moons in our solar system. And believe it or not, there's like about 900 moons in our solar system alone. Saturn has about 90. Jupiter has about 90. And there is one planet which is called Enceladus. And Enceladus it looks like it's got Arabic writing on there that says Allah. I thought it was like a sign. This is a sign that Allah exists. So I thought, what about the planet Titan? Because Titan is a world that goes around Saturn. So I typed in Titan, Allah's name. And when I typed that in, that scene from the movie came up and someone had made a video about it and I simply shared it. But because of the way that the YouTube algorithms work, is that the video wouldn't blow up if you've got no followers on your channel. So I stumbled upon that just simply through the right keywords. And that's how it blew up. But what was interesting is that when people tried to search for that scene, they couldn't search for that scene. The only video that they found was Ali Dawa. It was just down to the keywords. It was by the will of Allah that I stumbled upon that.
Run me through the scene. What's happening in the scene?
So essentially, Thanos comes out of a portal. He's walking, and behind the scenes, there's text that says Allah is not dominion or Allah is not the king. And it's quite interesting because I always felt that there was something in that film. There were other things as well which I cannot speak about for safety reasons, but there were other things that they hid inside that film as well that people didn't realise. And I warned people about that many years ago and they thought I was crazy. But now that Ali Dawa has reposted that, it goes to show that I wasn't delusional. There were some symbols that were put in that film, and that's how Shaitan works.
Again, just picturing like what's going on in that editing suite, when they're making that movie, what would make them want to put that horrible, disgusting wording in their movie to offend, so many people in the world. And
I don't know who on earth would write such a thing except for one person. And that sounds like something that Dajjal would say. Those words is the type of thing that would come out of Dajjal's mouth. Something like that.
The music as well. I saw a video the other day of the nursery rhyme, Twinkle Little Star.
Play it backwards.
And when you play it backwards, it says, I wish there was no Allah.
Yeah.
Astaghfirullah, brother.
Yeah.
Like, why would they put that wording in the movie if it wasn't for the reason you said?
Yeah, could have been like some sort of subconscious thing where they're trying to put this in the back of your mind. They're constantly working of ways, to make people less religious. They want to push certain narratives. They want to push certain agendas to make Islam look like it's not correct. I've seen some fact check try to cover up the splitting of the moon. There is evidence that the moon split 1400 years ago, and NASA know about this, yet they purposefully cover it up. And the same was with Noah's Ark. The Noah's Ark, there's a place on Mount Judy, right, which is mentioned in the Quran. This is where Noah's Ark is. And I'd seen that many years ago, and I believed that this was the exact spot where Noah's Ark was. But they tried saying, oh, there's no evidence, blah, 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 blah. They tried to cover it up. And then recently it came out that Noah's Ark has actually been found. And they did scans on that site, and they found that indeed there is a huge bolt underneath it, and it's been radiocarbon dated as well. And it checks out that this is Noah's Ark.
Is this like near Turkey or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Has that been like factually proven true? That's a massive boat, or
depends who you're asking, isn't it? What's a fact and what isn't? Who are the ones who are controlling these fact checks? Who are the ones who are pushing these facts? They don't want us to know the truth. Absolutely, it's factual. It's in the Quran. That should be enough.
Yeah.
That should be enough.
Yeah.
But yes, it has been proven. And the scientists like Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Michio Kaku. I actually quite like Michio Kaku. In fact, I like Neil deGrasse Tyson as well, although I don't agree with them. But they haven't said anything on this, And as a scientist, you're supposed to keep an open mind, isn't it? Neil deGrasse Tyson, he said, you can't bring your religious beliefs into the lab.
Well, it's funny that because, 1400 years ago, there was a lot of scientific things stated in the hadiths and in the Quran, which then came true many, many, many years later.
Absolutely. SubhanAllah, the amount of scientific stuff in the Quran is undeniable. This is such a strong evidence for Islam. If someone comes to me and they say, prove it, we'll be here for days.
Oh man, some of the hadiths and the scientific miracles are amazing, man. And it's one of the main things that, led me back to Islam and wanting to learn more. I think one of them was the center of the earth is made up of primarily like iron. There's a chapter in the Quran about iron and it's in the center. I thought, that's amazing. Yeah. And the two seas not mixing, the salt water and
the two oceans don't mix.
The two oceans don't mix. How can you deny that?
It's interesting you say that was another one they tried to fact check. Someone filmed a video of the two seas not mixing. They posted it on the internet and the fact check tried to debunk it. They'll come up with some rubbish explanation. People will read it and they'll be like, yeah, Islam's not true. I saw it on the fact check. That's how they work. When you can clearly see the two seas are not mixing.
Yeah.
But they don't want you to acknowledge what your own eyes are seeing.
And there's no way Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, would know that.
No.
He wasn't a sailor.
No.
Yeah, how did he know that? And I think there was another one about the pharaohs. In the old Bibles, they refer to the pharaohs as pharaohs, but actually in that time they were referred to as kings. When Christians say that, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, just copied what was being taught to Christians, you look at that and say, well, why weren't the mistakes copied then?
Exactly. And, these people who are saying, it was copied, well, then why do Muslims not believe in the crucifixion? If the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a liar, right? If he was making this up and he wanted to, create his own religion and he wanted to specifically get the Christians on board, he would have told the Christians what they wanted to hear, right? Oh, yes, Jesus was crucified, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't. Even though they had a problem with it, he didn't. Why? Because the Prophet, peace be upon him, spoke the truth. It wasn't a matter of who's going to agree, who's not. He just had to convey the message. And that's what he did.
So getting back to this universe stuff, it's always been a subject that I find super fascinating. There's been many nights where I've just sat there and pondered about the universe and it just blows my mind. I'm not a scientist, but I look at some of the imagery that they come up with their massive telescopes, and they can take pictures of galaxies far, 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 far away. But then I ask myself, why can't they, use that same telescope to take the picture of the Earth? Because all of these pictures that we see on Google of the Earth, they're not actually pictures, are they? They're just...
There are some that are real pictures and there are some that are not. And that's what makes it a bit hard for some people.
Yeah, because it would be so easy for them just to prove flat Earth is wrong, wouldn't it?
I'm not a flat earther, by the way.
You're not? No, that's fine. No. I'm not either. Okay. I'm just doubting everything right now.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing, right? The thing with flat earthers is that, they're not stupid. They question everything. And that's a good thing to have. But I strongly believe that the earth is not flat. And that is coming from someone who has a very open mind, who has done their research. And, you can waste your time on this conspiracy theory, or you can look into the real stuff that's going on. Let's say the earth is flat.
Yeah.
Just for argument's sake. What do they get out of just lying to us about the shape of the earth? What do they benefit?
If the earth had a firmament over it, proves there's a God, isn't it? So that's what they would get out of it. If it's a sphere and we're just a ball traveling hundreds of thousands of miles an hour, chasing this fireball into the endless pit of the universe forever and ever and ever and ever, it makes you feel small, makes you feel unimportant. But if there's a dome over you, right, it all of a sudden means you're not nothing. You're not a nobody.
Yeah.
You're important. If that was true, it would prove that there's a God. And that would be, I guess, the flat earthers, majority of them would say that is the reason why they would want to cover that up.
I actually saw a video of an astrologer. He was using the flat earth as a basis of his beliefs as well. So, it can go both ways, but you don't have to have flat earth in order to have a protective dome. You know, even with the spherical Earth model, you've still got the atmosphere, you've still got the magnetosphere, you've still got this dome or this protective sky. And that's what Allah calls it. He calls it a protective ceiling.
Another miracle as well.
Absolutely.
He describes it as like a canopy.
Exactly. And that's what the sky is. It's a protective dome. The Earth, I 100% believe it is not flat. And this is coming from someone who is some people would brand me as a conspiracy theorist. Some people would brand me as someone who needs to be locked up, and you know, I say the craziest things, and I'm coming out and I'm saying the Earth is most certainly not flat. It's not flat. And if you,
a lot of the old ancient maps do depict it as flat though,
because many years ago they didn't realize that the Earth was round. When I was a kid, I used to think the Earth was flat. You know, I said to my mum, "Oh, the Earth's flat," and she goes, "No, it's not." I'm like, "Yes, it is." You know, we got. All
right, Tariq.
But, you know,
go clean your room.
But it isn't, and you know, unfortunately, you won't really be able to know yourself until, you know, either you do some sort of test or experiment, or one way is, you know, you go in a rocket and you see for yourself. You know, what I love about one flat earther that I know is he's actually willing to go in a rocket and go up to space and see it for himself. But I think this is the thing. I think there are some flat earthers out there that are not willing to do that. And I think if you're not willing to put yourself in the rocket and see it with your own eyes...
But the problem is the governments aren't even going that far themselves. Majority of the time, they're staying within the Earth's atmosphere, aren't they? They're not actually going into space. Like when they go and work on the satellite, the ISS, they're still in Earth's atmosphere. So they're like on the borderline. So it does make you wonder, it makes me wonder anyway, when I look at the old footage of the moon landing, and to me it's very, very sus. What do you think about that? Do you think that moon landing video is real? I'm
going to get a lot of hate for this. Not hate, but it's going to be a massive shock. Because you know me, right? I'm very much into these conspiracy theories, right? And after doing my investigations, after doing research, I have determined that the moon landing was in fact real.
Okay, we're going to edit that out. So Tariq, it's fake, was it?
I know it's a shock.
Oh, man.
I know it's a shock.
I can't be 100% on it though, man.
No.
Like, some of it just does look sus. Who was the guy that went to the moon? Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong. And Buzz Aldrin,
he said some sus things in interviews as well, hasn't he?
Like what?
He said something like, someone asked him what was the scariest thing about going to the moon, and he said, it didn't happen.
They do this a lot where they take certain things out of context. And when I read that, when I saw that video at first, I was thinking, But the way I understood that is when he said it didn't happen, he means he didn't get scared, right? It didn't happen. He wasn't scared throughout the entire mission. He felt safe. He felt fine.
There was another one that passed away. On his tombstone, he had, I think it was a verse from the Bible or something, and it's the verse that mentions the firmament. So a lot of people point to that and say that's a bit strange. There's just a lot of such things. I would say that, but again, I don't know if it's flat or round anymore. I don't know anything. I'm just a podcaster. So moving on from the flat Earth stuff, you talk a lot about time travel.
Yes,
it's something I find another thing very interesting. What made you start talking about time travel? I believe you said once that you figured out how to time travel.
I understand how it works. So essentially, time travel in the past is possible, the same way that time travel in the future is possible.
How would it be possible to go in the past?
I'll explain. So I want you to visualize something now. So I want you to imagine you had a clock, and imagine that this clock is moving away from you. What happens when something moves away from you?
It gets smaller.
It gets smaller. Now I want you to imagine that this clock, at the same rate at which it's moving away from you, is also increasing in size. So for the observer, it's not getting smaller.
It's moving away, but it's getting bigger.
Yeah, at a perfect equilibrium. So at the exact rate at which it's moving,
it would look like it's not moving.
It would look like it's not moving, isn't it? So I want you to imagine now that this clock starts off moving away slowly and eventually speeds up, right? So what happens to that clock that's increasing in size, that looks like it's staying still? What do you think will happen the closer it gets to the speed of light? Because the clock's still ticking, even though it's moving away. I'll tell you. Do you want me to tell you?
Go on.
Yeah. As that clock is approaching the speed of light, you'll notice that the clock gets slower and slower and slower and slower until when it reaches the exact speed of light, the clock stands still. Time stops.
But why?
That's just the universe, isn't it? The universe is strange.
But what would make it slow down and stop?
Time is relative. So this is what Einstein showed in his theory of relativity. Time is relative. If you're moving at 99% the speed of light and I'm moving maybe 0.5% the speed of light, time will pass differently for me than it would for you. So going on from that clock, as it approaches the speed of light, it slows down. Once it gets to the speed of light, it stops. Now, what happens when it exceeds the speed of light? What do you think happens next?
Well, I would assume it will go in reverse.
Absolutely. The clock goes in reverse. And this will be the exact same thing that we would observe from here on Earth. So if, let's say, for example, there are galaxies out there that are moving away from us faster than the speed of light, time would be in reverse when we observe those galaxies, to the point where eventually, if you wait long enough, you'll see the early stages of how that galaxy was formed, because you'll be looking back in time. You know, when you look at something that's 100 light years away, you're not looking at it as it is now. You're looking 100 years into the past.
Is that because of how long it takes for the light to reach us?
Absolutely. So you have to understand, if light, the fastest known thing in the universe, is taking 100 years to reach us, and the thing you're looking at is 100 years old, then if you go there faster than the speed of light, then you're going to reach there earlier than the time that you're looking at it.
So, for example, if the roles were reversed and people on this imaginary planet were looking at Earth and it took 20 million years to get from A to B, if they were looking at Earth, they might see dinosaurs.
20 million years. How long ago did dinosaurs?
I don't know.
I'm
guessing it's about 20
I mean,
million.
it depends on how far away they were.
Let me Google it.
So,
when did dinosaurs exist? I have questions about dinosaurs as well, but we won't go into that.
no, that's it's an interesting one.
230 million years.
Wow, that's a very long time.
So
they would have to be 230 million light years away.
Right.
And they'll be...
That's good. So now it's making more sense to me.
Yeah.
So if this imaginary planet was 230 million light years away from Earth and they were looking at Earth through a massive telescope, would that mean they see dinosaurs?
Depends how good the telescope is, doesn't it?
Told you get your mind blown in this podcast.
Yes. I find time travel very, very fascinating. I find higher dimensions of space very fascinating as well. It's one of the areas which I've been studying for a very long time. I genuinely believe that I have made some sort of scientific discovery. I think I've found something new. I think I've discovered a new form of matter, a new state of matter.
Is this related to like the black holes and?
Not really. I mean, black holes have some link with higher dimensions. I think I found some stuff with that as well. What did Einstein tell us? Einstein predicted the existence of black holes, and he also predicted the existence of the white holes as well. Now, we found the black holes. Where are the white holes? Everything has an opposite, doesn't it? Everything is in pairs.
Yes.
Right? Night, day, good, evil. So where's the white holes? Well, I genuinely believe that I have found the first white hole. Well, I mean, there are many white holes. Not I found the first one, but I believe that the quasars that the scientists previously discovered, I believe that these are white holes. You know, I'm not even the first person to make that claim. Someone else made that claim before me, and I'm saying that these are white holes.
And what's a quasar?
A quasar is basically a supermassive black hole that emits light. But there's a problem, because black holes are supposed to engulf all of the light because its gravity is so strong, or at least the curvature of space-time around it is so curved that the light cannot escape it. So why are quasars the brightest thing in the known universe if it's just a supermassive black hole? It doesn't make sense.
So what you're essentially saying is you got a black hole engulfing all of the light, and then you're saying that needs to go somewhere because there's always opposites in everything. So you're saying these quasars are possibly the other side of the black hole, emitting all of the light back out?
Exactly. That's what it is the black hole is the entry point and the white hole is the exit. It's a wormhole.
So could that be used for travel then?
It could be, potentially, but this is the thing. According to my theory, according to my understanding, is if you go through a black hole, that's a black hole that has all the right conditions that you don't die when you go through it, because each black hole is different. You would end up in a different universe to the one that we're in now.
That's wild.
It wouldn't be the same universe as this one. You'd have to go through another black hole to come back here. And you'll come out through a white hole.
That's crazy. You messaged me earlier. You said that you may have discovered something. And it sounds like it's kind of related to this.
No, it's not.
So it's something higher dimension.
Something to do with higher dimension. So as a young kid, I've always been interested in, the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and this is my own branch of chemistry. This is my own branch of science, which I believe I have created. I have stumbled upon this, and it's called chemistry in higher dimensions. And I've been working on this theory for not very long, but the evidence is really, really interesting. So do you understand the whole concept of 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D? Do you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah? I've had some people, they say to me, oh, two-dimensional things are not real. There's no such thing as 2D. I disagree. 2D does exist in our universe. I can give many examples.
It exists in a digital universe.
Yeah, and that as well. If you look at me, right, I'm a three-dimensional creature, right? I have height, I have width, I have depth. But look at my shadow. My shadow is two-dimensional.
That's true.
Not only that, is we have one-dimensional molecules that exist within our three-dimensional space. We have two-dimensional molecules that exist within our three-dimensional space. And we have three-dimensional molecules that exist within our three-dimensional space. What are they? Well, an example of a one-dimensional molecule would be oxygen, O2. The two oxygen. It's one-dimensional. It's a line. The molecule is a line. That's the structure of oxygen. A two-dimensional molecule that I'll give you is graphene. Graphene is a bunch of carbon atoms that are laid out in a hexagonal pattern, and it lays completely flat. It is a completely two-dimensional material. The same with water, H2O. The molecule is two-dimensional. Although it exists in a three-dimensional space, the atomic arrangements is two-dimensional. And then we have our three-dimensional structures as well, which is where carbon is very versatile. Carbon can build all of these different molecules. Well, I extend that theory into the fourth dimension now. What if there are new states of matter? What if molecules could also be four-dimensional?
Understand 3D, right? So we're 3D, left, right, up, down. So what would be 4D? How do you go beyond 3D?
So every dimension is 90 degrees away from each other. So you have width, height, depth. That's 90 degrees, isn't it? It's a right angle. So a fourth dimension would just be 90 degrees away from the three that we can perceive. But we just cannot imagine it. We can't imagine it with our brains because we've never seen it before. It's like trying to imagine a new colour. You can't imagine a new colour that you've never seen before. It's the same thing with the fourth dimension. The human brain only knows this.
And I love that because these are the exact same things I always think about. It's the same thing with me. Like I always think about what's at the end of the universe. They tell us that the universe is expanding. Actually, the Quran tells us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that we're expanding the universe. What's it expanding into? If you ask anyone, explain to me what true nothingness is. There's a mental block. You can't picture true nothing. If you try to picture it, you're going to think of a black void. That's still something.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's still something. True. So what is true nothing? And like when I have these deep thoughts, like my only conclusion is the lack of consciousness. But I digress. You got to show me.
Yes. So this is the book I've been writing, Chemistry in Higher Dimensions. So it is an extension of what we currently know. Now, The following structures that I'm about to show you are 4-dimensional structures. But before I get into this, I want to probably show you what kind of 3-dimensional structures we have.
Okay.
So,
You know it's serious when you pull the laptop out.
so as you can see here, these are all different molecules. They're all different shapes. They take a physical form. The tetrahedron, the octahedron, the dodecahedron, the platonic solids, you know, the Johnson solids, the semi-regular shapes as well. They're all structures, they're all shapes, aren't they? Right? These are the same forms that atoms make on the atomic scale. On the really, really small, fine scale, there's order. There's order, you know?
So what am I looking at right now? Is this a representation of 3D?
This is a representation of 3D molecules. As you can see, graphene is completely 2-dimensional. It's a hexagonal tile. The same way you have on your kitchen, you know, the little tiles, lays completely flat. If it was to go forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, it will never curve or go in or go round like a ball. Completely flat.
Yeah.
And so the ones that I've discovered is I found these 4-dimensional structures. And these are the molecules which I've theorized.
Let's see it.
The Tesseract is the most famous 4-dimensional shape, and it was shown in the film Avengers. If you remember the little blue box, Loki tried to steal it, right? This is the 4-dimensional version of a 3D cube. Now, if you look at this, right, what I've done here, you see the little balls on the corners. Think of those balls as atoms. Each one of those is a carbon atom. And all of those edges are the bonds between those atoms. The same way you have a bond with oxygen and carbon, right? The only difference is these atoms are now arranged in a 4-dimensional space rather than a 3-dimensional space.
What makes it 4D?
Because you've got height, you've got width, you've got depth, and now you've got another one that you cannot perceive, another direction.
What direction is that?
We have no name for it. Words cannot describe it. It's alien to us.
Man.
There was one geometer who used the words ana and kata, which were the Greek words for up and down. He used those 2 words to describe it. But really and truly, we don't really have an actual name for it. It's completely outside of our universe. I theorized the C16 on the 23rd of March, so it was quite recently. I also theorized that different combinations of these atoms could be made with all the atoms in the same group as carbon, because they all have 4 electrons on their outer shell. Now, if you look at this, right? I asked ChatGPT, I said to it, this molecule that I've created with 16 carbon atoms, is it going to be stable? I knew it was going to be stable, but I wanted to see what ChatGPT said. And it said it's showing high signs of stability. And the reason why, if you look, each atom in the corner, how many edges meet? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bonds.
Yeah.
Carbon is stable with 4 bonds, meaning that these structures which I have come up with are stable forms, stable structures that carbon can exist in, and there's multiple of them. It's not just the only one. We have the C16, there's the C5, which takes this structure, another 4-dimensional structure. The C16 was unstable. I predicted that it was unstable because there were 6 bonds. Carbon needs 4. Another unstable one. The C20, predicted to be stable, 4 bonds. The C40, predicted to be stable. The C182. I can go on and on and on. These are all different 4-dimensional structures which are showing high signs of stability with carbon. What does that mean? That means that these could potentially be new materials that we can use, whether it be for warp drives or, you know, quantum computers or clothing or the building industry, this industry, that industry, whatever these materials are, we don't know what the properties are until we examine them. But I've got many of these new materials that we can use. The C240.
How would you access them? I mean, is this all just theory?
It's a theory until it's proven. So how would we be able to create such molecules? Well, that's the question. I don't know. Maybe we might need a particle accelerator. Maybe we might need to create, you know, special conditions in a lab to be able to create these exact same molecules. But what was interesting is that I had a way of being able to test this, and this is where it gets so interesting because I don't know if this is making any sense to you, is it?
Kinda.
Yeah? Cool. Wait for your mind to be blown. So there's something which I came up with, which is, I didn't come up with it, but it's something I call the bubble experiment. And for some reason, you know, these four-dimensional structures, which I'm showing you, they occur within nature. They occur naturally.
No. Go on.
Yeah. So, and one way to find them is through the bubble experiment. What you do is you build the structure, whether it be out of Zoom tool or wire, you put it into fairy liquid, you dip it in, you take it out, and the four-dimensional structure forms in the center.
I take it you've tried this experiment.
Many times.
Yeah?
Yeah. So that's the C40, right? As you can see, right? That is a dodecahedron structure. So what I did here is I took that dodecahedron and I dipped it into some fairy liquid.
Oh. Yeah, I see what you mean.
That's the exact same thing that you're looking at there.
That's cool. What separates that from being a 3D object to a 4D? Could it not be a 3D object with more 3D objects within a 3D object?
So what you was looking at there was three-dimensional, was not four-dimensional, right? Do you remember when I said to you that three-dimensional creatures have a two-dimensional shadow?
Yes.
Four-dimensional objects have a three-dimensional shadow. So yes, you are looking at a three-dimensional object, but that three-dimensional object is a representation in 3 dimensions of a 4-dimensional object, right? It's being projected into our dimension, and that's what we see. That's not what someone in the 4th dimension would see. The same way when I project my shadow of a man, which is 2D, if I project it into the 2nd dimension, what you see and what the 2D being sees is not the same. That's our perception of something which is greater, something that's beyond our dimensions.
So do you think that's what could be in the unseen?
Absolutely. I always tie the two together. It's something that we can't perceive. It's something outside of the human perception. So it's all unseen. But essentially, what does that mean? These materials that I've come across, that I've theorized, it could either be a load of bogus or perhaps it might actually change everything. It might change the way we look at chemistry. It might change the way, different industries, the way we manufacture materials, the future of everything. That science fiction world that we see in the films might not be so far away.
Well, I hope so, because that means I'm interviewing a future Nobel Prize winner, so
Yeah.
we'll see, inshallah.
Yeah.
Another thing that I see you talk a lot about is AI. I saw some sort of AI kitchen.
I decided to start a business on building kitchens and bathrooms, and I have different ranges. So my starting range is cheap, cheerful, and then the top of the range is anything you want in your wildest dreams.
Sell it to me. What are these AI kitchens about?
So these AI kitchens could be any type of kitchen that you want. It's particularly tailored for people who have got money to spend, who might have a dream or a vision in their head, but they might go somewhere and they don't offer such a kitchen.
Say I'm a multi-millionaire and I want the best kitchen. I want my other millionaire friends to be impressed with my kitchen when they come over for supper. What is the best? What sort of features are we talking about?
It's all down to how much you want to invest into your kitchen. I see the kitchens as an investment. You get out what you put in. But if I had a client who said to me, money is not an issue, we can make you a robot that can cook food for you. Can make you pancakes, can make you spaghetti bolognese, chili con carne. Let's say bathrooms, for example. We can give you a smart toilet, cleans you after you go toilet, has a dryer, a smart mirror with a TV screen on there. While you're, doing what you've got to do, you might want to watch, EastEnders or something while you're in the bathroom, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, whatever it is. All of those different crazy concepts, we can do them. Sci-fi kitchens, cyberpunk kitchens, futuristic kitchens, retro kitchens, anything you want, I'll make it.
So literally you'll be able to send a message to your kitchen saying, I fancy spaghetti bolognese tonight, and when you get home from work, spaghetti bolognese is ready for you in the kitchen.
Essentially, that's where we want to get up to. We're not there yet, but it's almost on its way there. you will need to be present in the house.
It's your kitchen calling you.
Yeah, you will need
What
to
do
be.
you want for dinner?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example right now, right? I want you to imagine that you're a customer right now. You've got all the money in the world, right? You're doing up your house, your dream house, your forever home. Describe to me your dream kitchen.
Oh. If you asked me before today, I probably would have said a kitchen with a chef in it, but it sounds like that won't be necessary. I don't spend a lot of time in the kitchen, I've got to be honest
What colour do you want? Black, white, green, turquoise?
There's another material that's quite expensive. It's like a stone.
Quartz.
Like a white stone. Quartz. Yeah, that is the tabletop.
Essentially, what I would do is if you was a client, describe to me your dream idea. I type in the exact words that you're saying, and the AI would convert those words into an image. And 90% of the time when I do that, the customer goes to me, that was exactly what I wanted. So the AI is really good at just narrowing down that exact look that the customer is looking for. So therefore, I don't have to spend ages designing a kitchen and it ends up being the wrong style, the wrong colour, and I need to change it to this range and that. No. It just saves me so much time. So we can recreate the exact look of the AI image. If you brought me, let's say you wanted a kitchen that was not green or blue, but it was like a specific shade, I can convert that colour into a hex code, a numerical value, and I can mix the paints to match that exact shade. Anything you want, I can make it. That is the foundation of my kitchen business, is making your dreams a reality. You go to some kitchen places and you say, I want a kitchen that looks like it's out of a science fiction movie. Likelihood is they won't be able to give you that. Even if you offered them a lot of money. They can't do it.
Really good idea, but I want to hit more about this robot. So when you say robot, I think a lot of people will probably, the image of a Dalek sort of thing roaming around the kitchen. So what does this robot kind of look like?
It's got 2 arms and it's mounted on top of the wall.
So kind of like this sort of microphone stand.
Yeah, you could say, 2 hands that move around, has access to the sink, has access to the dishwasher, has access
dishwasher
to
as well, yeah?
Yeah. There's different tiers.
You can unload the dishwasher.
Unload, yeah.
I'm sold, bro.
Absolutely. That was the biggest problem that I had, because when we got a dishwasher, I just realised I can't just put them straight in the dishwasher. I got to rinse them. I got to load them up.
You're still doing half the work, aren't you, really?
Mate.
If you're like one of those dirty people that leave all the, the baked bean sauce on the plate, just chuck it in the dishwasher, we can't be friends, man.
You see, that's the problem, because the dishwasher is supposed to eliminate the work. But if you're unloading the dishwasher and you're putting the dishes in there and you're rinsing everything off, you're still doing the work.
You are, really.
I'll be honest with you, I'm a very fast person. The amount of time that it takes me to fill the dishwasher up, put the dishwasher on for an hour, take it out, unload. I could have just washed the dishes. I could have just washed the dishes.
Yeah.
That dishwasher has taken up 60 centimetres in my kitchen. I could have used that as a cabinet, a space.
If I play devil's advocate, though, a very wealthy person who'd be able to afford this robot would say, yeah, but I've got cleaners. The
difference between a cleaner and the difference between a robot is just that, isn't it? If I want to invite people into my house and I want to show them that I've got a futuristic kitchen, I'd rather it be a robot, wouldn't I?
Now, how much would one of these robots, kitchen robots, set you back?
So we're aiming to get it as low as £25,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Although right now, I'll be honest with you, I would ask for £40,000.
40 grand. Still?
I'll ask for £40,000. The reason why is because the current competitor that we have is selling theirs for £120,000.
40 grand? Thinking about it though, forgive me if I'm wrong, but that sounds like a sort of an annual wage for a cleaner. So once you invest that money into this robot, which on the offset might sound like a big investment for your kitchen, but if you're someone that might have cleaners, it could actually save you money.
It does save you money in the long run. And another example that I give is someone like myself. I don't really like to cook. It's not that I don't like to cook. A lot of the time I don't have time to cook. And you go get fast food, you eat out all the time, you eat here, you eat there, you end up spending so much money.
That's a good point.
When you have the robot that does it for you,
That's right. So it is cooking you food.
Mm.
It's taking your dish. So not only are you no longer need a cleaner, you no longer need a chef as well.
Mm.
Do you think that there's dangers with AI? I mean, even with like the kitchen stuff that you've just been talking about, the dangers with that is, cleaners wouldn't be needed anymore in the kitchen. Maybe chefs wouldn't be needed anymore. Is that the sort of future we're looking at, where people are
No. And the reason
losing
why...
their jobs and there's no work anymore because the robots and the AIs are taking all the jobs?
No, not necessarily. I mean, when it comes to... you asked me multiple questions there. You asked me if there was dangers. Absolutely, there's dangers. I'll get onto that. But regarding the AI replacing the cleaners, these robots that clean the house, they're expensive. Sometimes it is just cheaper to get a cleaner and to do it. Maybe pay them £100, £200, £300, maybe even £1,000. These robots are like 40,000. Yeah, in the long run, it might save you money, but especially for businesses that don't have that kind of money, or for people who don't have that kind of money to start off with, it makes sense to just hire a chef or to hire a cleaner.
When I mention dangers, it's not only like, scamming going on or something like that. People losing their jobs to robots and AI is a real danger.
Absolutely.
In our society. Should we be worried about it all?
I don't think it's something that we need to panic about and, start, fear mongering. I don't believe in that. Yes, some people will lose their jobs. It will happen. But it also creates new jobs as well. AI creates new jobs. And this is what I'm saying. It's about adapting. It's about getting with the times. The people who lived in a generation where they didn't have mobile phones or computers, they had to learn. They had to adapt. It's the same with AI. AI is the new way of going. We need to adapt to it. Believe it or not, I used AI to make a film. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't know anyone in the film industry. I tried to contact people with my ideas. None of them responded to me. Now I can make an actual film all by myself with not a lot of money with AI. That has now given me an opportunity to get into the film industry.
But at the same time, it's also taken away opportunity from, for instance, artists. I mean, there's that whole NFT thing that happened, and a lot of artists feel...
What's this NFT thing?
Non-fungible token. So it's linked to like crypto and stuff like that. Basically, you can use AI to create this NFT. You don't have to use AI, but most of them do use AI because most people that are doing it are not artists. So you can use AI to create these images and then you can sell them on the blockchain. And there was a period a couple of years ago where they were going for crazy amounts of money. So a lot of artists felt like this whole AI thing, they feel like there's not going to be any need for an artist anymore. When if you wanted a painting on your wall, you could just go onto your laptop, say, make me this painting of the oceans, print it out and put it on your wall. It's
not the answer you're going to expect, but I mean, the music industry is very satanic. So if you guys are being put out of business, good.
Yeah.
People going to less concerts, people listening to less demonic music, good. But yeah, I mean, absolutely, there's always going to be people who are going to lose their jobs 100%. But like I say the same thing, it's going to create new jobs. This, what you're saying about this NFT thing. So what, it's like a cryptocurrency, right? It's like a cryptocurrency. Can you go a bit more into that?
It's related to crypto. So crypto is electronic money.
Yeah.
You know what a blockchain is. So it exists on the blockchain. Every transaction is recorded on the blockchain. So no matter what happens, you can look back and see, who owned that cryptocurrency. NFT basically is where you can have a piece of art. It doesn't even have to be art. It could even be something physical. That physical item is linked to this NFT that exists on the blockchain.
Right, and they're using these tokens to buy actual physical goods.
Yeah, like and it can go up in value, because let's say you create an NFT and there's only 100 versions of them, then that creates value. It takes away people counterfeiting as well. You will have a special code. Yeah, so you could take a screenshot of it, but it wouldn't be worth anything because it exists on this blockchain, which tells you that this is the legitimate, this is the real thing. right? So then if they were all off the market, all 100 of them were bought, it could increase in value. Then you can sell it for a profit. But on the same token, it can go down in value as well. So that's in a nutshell what an NFT.
Why does AI become a danger when it comes to these NFT things?
I brought up NFT because many people at the time when NFTs became popular were using AI to create the images. In the broader sort of picture of it, artists in general fear AI because I don't need to go and pay someone a load of money now to paint me something or draw me something or do anything artistic for me to create something when I can go directly to an AI, possibly free, get it done for free, tell the AI what I want and it'll give it to me. I can print it out and put it on my wall. So a lot of artists are worried about that sort of thing.
It is what it is. It's not AI, unfortunately, it's not going away. It is here to stay. Like I say, people will be put out of jobs. People will lose their jobs, but there will be more jobs that are created. I could now set up an account on Fiverr offering to create an image or for someone can pay me. I can just get the AI to generate it. I used to spend a lot of time designing logos for people. Now you can get the AI to do it. I can now charge someone, they pay me to design them a logo, I get the AI to do it. I'm making money from it. Someone now who doesn't even have the skills to design a logo could essentially design logos just using AI. It creates new opportunities. You just need to understand how.
So basically what you're saying is stop complaining, find a way to adapt and find a way that you can use it to your advantage.
Absolutely. AI has so much beneficial applications. I use it in my kitchen design business. I use it for things that are not related to my business. I use it literally for so many different things. Whatever it is that you want to do, think about that thing and then think about how you can use AI to benefit you. Don't just, play the victim. Oh, I'm black, I'm not going to get the job. No. You think, how can I make this work for me? We can all sit there and be like, oh, AI is going to take... What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
It's coming.
We need to... we can't just sit back and complain and expect something to change. We got to start now learning how to use these AI tools to benefit us. You saw that there was this thing, right? The Charlie and the Chocolate Factory experience. Did you see that?
No.
So some guy, he got the AI. He generated a promotional picture that looked really nice. The AI did a good job. It always does a good job, doesn't it? These parents turned up at this Charlie and the Chocolate Factory amusement park and they're just like, what is this? It's a warehouse. It's empty. They called the police. They said, oh, we've been scammed. We paid £30, £50 to take the kids out. There were so many parents that went there.
Oh, wow.
But why did they go there? AI. The AI had so much influence that it made all of these people pay for a ticket to go to some amusement
So that
event.
was a scam then?
It wasn't a scam, okay? Someone tried to pull off an event and they didn't do it properly.
So they...
It's
one... okay. Yeah.
But the point is the AI got
they sold
them,
people dreams.
Exactly.
Okay.
The AI got them those customers. The customers paid. They physically made money from that. So if I'm doing events, I can now use the AI to create a promotion for it. Maybe do an advert. People say, oh, that's a nice image. Let me click and go to that website. You can create your own websites. You can create your own businesses online. There's so much benefits to it. Yeah, you've got the negatives as well, but I think we need to look at the positives. But regarding the dangers of it, you are correct. There are some dangers. Like we mentioned, there are scams. There are new sort of scams that people are coming up with now to take money from people, and that is something that we need to talk about as well. We can't just brush it under the rug. We have to address it. I said this the other day to you. We had a friend of mine who, someone in his family, they took the voice of them and they made the AI pretend like she was kidnapped.
I've heard of this.
And then the dad paid the money. It was a lot of money. It was a lot of money.
No, how much?
I don't know, but it was a lot. I think it could have been £1,000 or something.
Oh, man.
It's still a lot of money, do you know what I mean? It could have been worse, but it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But these people are getting away with it, and we have to look at what are the key things that we can know that something is AI. Hands. Always pay attention to the hands. An AI-generated image, there's going to be
struggles
something.
with the fingers. doesn't it?
Struggles with the fingers.
They also use AI to superimpose, so they might get an actual person to be, talking, but then they'll use the AI to superimpose another person's face onto. One of the things I think I mentioned to you before was the Kate Middleton thing. I don't know if you had a chance to actually go and look at that.
I didn't see the video about it, but I heard about it.
So with her, there's a lot of people wondering where she is. She's not being seen in the public eye, and we heard rumors about her health. They released this video of her sitting in the garden on a bench, and she's just, saying, I'm all right, blah, blah, blah. But then when people slowed it down, they noticed that on one of the shots on her fingers, the ring disappears. And then when you zoom into her mouth, you see that it's been cut. And like the mouth is not really matching up perfectly to the words. But on the first glance, if you're just watching it one time, those sort of things would, skip by you, and you would just think it's Kate Middleton. Yeah, so AI can be dangerous. Deep fakes, if someone had it in for you, they could potentially use your face and do whatever they want with it and then send it around to people. So there is a lot of things that I think we should be concerned about and need looking into as well.
Absolutely, there is. I said this from the beginning. AI itself is neither inherently good or bad. It's whose hands it's in. It's how you use it. I can give you a gun. You can use that gun to maybe save somebody's life, or you can use it to end somebody's life, isn't it? It's the same with AI. AI can be used to start wars. It can be used to scam. It can be used for all sorts. And it can also be used for good. And that is my mentality. That is my viewpoint, is how can we use AI to benefit humanity?
It's also a massive opportunity as well for people who want to make money in an entrepreneurial sort of way. During the gold rush, most people didn't make money from digging for gold. The majority of people made their money from selling the spades to dig for gold. So if you look at it like that, this AI could be something similar. It could be a gold rush. And if you could find a way to use AI or offer some sort of service to do with AI, it's something to think about as well. So in terms of the end of times, I was interested in this whole red heifer thing.
So the red heifer is one of the prophecies in the Bible that is supposed to signify the coming of the Messiah. Now, it's not in the Quran, and it's not in our hadith either. So there are a group of Muslims who are just saying, don't look into this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Look, the temple of Dajjal is also not mentioned in the Quran or in the hadith. But if they start building Dajjal's temple, I'm going to be concerned. The point is that they are making efforts to pave the way for the false Messiah to come. They're actively working to bring this guy into our reality, into our world, and people are just not caring. What that sacrifice was, that red heifer sacrifice, that was supposed to be a ritual to bring the Dajjal into our world. And I knew about this way before it happened. By the way, there was a particular individual, I'm not going to mention his name, he came to me and he said that he spoke to someone very high up who works with the royal family. I'm not going to mention which royal family that is. And he told me, he said they're planning to sacrifice the red heifers. And I heard this, and they said that when they do it, Dajjal is going to come. And he also told me what they were planning to do is when the Mahdi comes, try to go to Mars and live on Mars.
Okay. I didn't know that part of the story.
You heard it from me. I didn't mention the red heifer thing before it happened. I kept it quiet.
You know what popped in my mind when you said that?
What?
Elon Musk.
There you go. Have you noticed?
Why is he going to Mars? Yeah. Why Mars?
Mars is the most realistic place for us to go to other than Earth or the moon at this moment in time. If you spend thousands of pounds going to the moon, you're wasting your money. You want to go to Mars. That is the next big step. That is the next big step.
It'd be difficult to live on Mars as well, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, of course it would be difficult. I think it's close to impossible, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But it's a stepping stone. I do believe that maybe one day, human beings, we might leave Earth. We might colonize other planets. There might be Earth-like worlds out there that might be as suitable as a home just as Earth is. But before we get to that stage, we need to do a little bit more. Yeah. More experiments, more research.
They do believe they found some planets that look like very similar to Earth. When you look at the pictures, you see green, you see water. I think it might be called Kepler or something like that.
Yeah, Kepler. Yeah,
is it Kepler?
Kepler, I think, is the name of the telescope.
Oh, right.
And then they've got like Kepler 22b, Kepler so and so. There's all these different.
Let me quickly Google it. Yeah, so Kepler 452b.
Mm.
They say that it looks a lot like Earth.
When they say that it looks a lot like Earth, I'm a bit skeptical about that because we haven't seen it up close. I think what they mean when they say that it looks a lot like Earth is that they're finding Earth-sized planets or Earth-like planets that are within the Goldilocks zone and they're roughly similar to the size of Earth, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the planet will be Earth-like. You know, Venus is almost the same size as Earth and it is within the habitable zone. It's on the very edge of the habitable zone. Nothing like Earth. It's a hell.
So do you think aliens exist?
I do believe that there is life other than on this Earth. Do I believe that they're green men or anything like that? Allah knows best what these creatures look like. I think a lot of the aliens and the extraterrestrials and reptilians that people end up seeing, I think that they're just jinns that are playing around with people. The likelihood is if there is life on other planets, it could be very, very different to what we're used to here on Earth. You know, is this life, is it in the ocean? Does it fly in the air? You know, but yeah, I do believe 100% that we're not alone.
I heard that the universe, you know, is so vast beyond what you can comprehend that somewhere there could be a planet with another you on it. You decided to come on Unchained, but there's another version of you who decided not to go on Unchained today. Do you think that could be a possibility?
No, I don't think there's another Earth out there, but I do believe there's different probabilities and there's different possibilities. So every time you make a choice, you know, there was a chance that you could have made the other choice. I do believe that. I do believe, you know, like if let's say for example, I didn't move houses and I stayed in the same place that I lived when I was a kid and I went to school there. You know, there's a that would have been a completely different world.
I find
for me,
that very interesting as well.
Yeah.
You know how life is just all choices.
Yeah.
You know, every day is a choice that we make and, you know, who knows where it's going to lead. And just the odds of us even being here in the first place. It's like, you know, we all really won the lottery to be sitting here and, you know, conversing with each other. And this world, subhanAllah. Another interesting topic that you raised there was the jinn. Have you had any experiences with the jinn?
Multiple. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, two in particular. Yeah.
Do you want to go into it or not?
I don't know how to say it. One of them, one time my Kareem spoke to me. And what he said shocked me.
What did it sound like? Was it like a whisper?
It was the voice in the head.
Oh, in the head.
A voice that's not your own.
How do you know it's the Korean?
Because it wasn't from myself.
But could it have been like a shaitan?
That's what Korean is, isn't it? It's a shaitan.
Yeah, but I mean, a random one.
Allah knows best, but I genuinely believe that this
just out of interest, how would you know?
You just know.
You just know.
You just know.
And what did it say?
It said that Iblis knows who I am.
That's deep.
Yeah. And then there was another instance where I had a debate with a jinn and I must have been sleeping or I must have been half awake, half asleep, that sort of thing. And the jinn just started, you know, debating with me about Muhammad Qasim, saying that, you know, Qasim's using black magic to predict the future and all of this rubbish. And I was debating with the jinn. The jinn just decided to leave, and it made me realise, like, the same way that we are debating about this, human beings are arguing about this, the jinns are arguing about it.
Was that a dream, did you say, or was it?
It was a dream, but it was a dream where I was, you know, when, let's say I'm sleeping in this couch right now, I'm asleep, right? But in the dream, I'm still in the room. It was an interesting dream because it really opened up my perspective on things, that it's not just human beings that are debating about this. The jinns are also debating about it too. And I was told specifically not to say this. I was told not to bring this up because, you know, no one wants us to look like we're having jinn problems or anything like that. I don't have problems with the jinn. I don't get anything weird happening in my house or anything like that. It is calm, it is peaceful, you know? I don't have anything like that. But the problem is that people keep coming to us and they're saying, oh, but the jinns said that Muhammad Qasim is using black magic. And, well, first of all, why are you believing what the jinn is telling you? First of all, we take our knowledge from the Quran and the Sunnah. You don't start interviewing the shayateen and asking them for religious advice.
No, you're not even supposed to communicate with them.
No. But second of all, what that is showing us is that even the jinns themselves are debating about this. There are some jinns that are Muslim that are saying that Qasim is telling the truth. And there are some jinns that are shayateen that are telling the people not to believe that Qasim is telling the truth. At the end
of the day, they're not all knowing, are they? So they could easily lie to you.
The jinns are just like human beings, bro. They they have slightly different abilities to us that Allah has given them, but ultimately, they don't know the unseen. You know, when King Suleiman, peace be upon him, died, you know, he was dead for a long time, and he was just sitting on his throne, on his stick, and the shayateen was still working. They didn't realise that he was dead. They thought he was just sitting there on the throne. If they knew the unseen, they would have stopped working and just gone off and roamed free. But instead, they were punishing themselves. They still thought they were enslaved. He goes to show that the shayateen and the jinns and the shayateen, really, they don't know the unseen. They're very similar to us human beings.
Yeah.
They're people. They make choices. They have free will. Some of them are good. Some of them are bad. Some of them are Hindu. Some of them are Muslim. Some of them Christian. Exactly the same as us.
There was like a trend recently on TikTok. Someone told a scary story about what happened to them, like with spirits and all that. And they asked people to tell us your scary. And they got lots of people like stitching it, duetting it. All of them that I saw, 99% of them were like, they didn't look Muslim to me. So they would refer to him as ghosts or spirits, or maybe it's my great-grandfather trying to speak to me or something. It appears to be a lot of jinn stuff going on in people's houses, but they're not aware because it's Islamic knowledge about the jinn. I'm watching it thinking, that's jinn, that's a jinn. Like, you got jinn problems, but you know, they don't realise it.
No. Some people, they assume that these jinns are just dead people, they're just ghosts, right? And they don't know what to do. So they should be reciting Quran or playing Quran. If they can't recite it, play it on your phone, play it on the TV. The shayateen cannot stand it. They will leave the house eventually. Eventually, you know, a bit of Surah Baqarah. Wallah, done. You know, so there's things that we need to do. And what's interesting is that, you know, the Vatican came out and said that, you know, there is an increase of these paranormal activity that's happening. And I myself, I can see this. When I was younger, I was very interested in the world of the unseen. That was one of the things that gained my interest in Islam, because I was previously a Christian. So I wanted to ask my dad, you know, are there aliens? Are there different creatures? What else is out there? My dad told me about the jinn. And I found it so interesting because we know that the jinn are real. And Islam talks about the jinn, therefore Islam has to be true, right? You know, so I looked on the internet and I tried to find as many videos as I possibly could of jinns. I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any. The only videos that I found were videos of someone having a jinn inside of them, where they were possessed and they were reciting Quran on them. I didn't see any videos of a jinn physically manifesting and taking a physical form. Now on TikTok, I see it all the time.
No, actual jinns.
Actual jinns coming in human form. There was one guy, he was live on TikTok and he saw an elf in the tree, a little man in the tree coming out, and you can see it's transparent. It's like between dimensions. You know, I'm seeing videos now of people seeing little winged creatures, right? They call them fairies or gnomes, right? You know, like little short, tiny little people, right, that just appear in their house and run around.
We've just got to be careful because there's so much CGI as well. It's just trying to find what is real and what's not. It can be difficult as well.
I think that could be partly to do why this is increasing. Is because we live in a time now where people can't tell whether it's real or fake. That's the prime opportunity for these jinns to come in and do that sort of stuff. If you film it, people just say, oh, it's not real. I talk about this a lot, you know, these weird mythical creatures that people report seeing, they catch it on camera, mermaids, fairies,
dragons,
you know, all of this stuff, right? even before mobile phones, even before laptops and technology, people still claimed to see these things. You know, so what? Someone from 1,000 years ago who's saying that he saw some creature or a ghoul, right? Or, you know, there's different types of jinns, right? They didn't learn this off of the internet, and there's different cultures from all around the world that never had contact with one another.
And they're depicting the same
thing. And they're depicting the exact same thing. So why is that? There has to be a reality to it. I'm not saying now that every single video you see on the internet is real, but it's coming to that point now where there will be a real video and people won't believe it's real.
Because it's just too much fakery.
There's too much fake stuff out there. I find the jinn fascinating.
And I've had lots of experiences as well.
Have
which
you?
I now know there were jinns.
Can you tell me a bit about that? That's
I'll tell you my brother's story. He's got a really cool story about the jinn. So he went to Pakistan. He went there with a friend. And this friend, I believe his cousin or something, he claimed to works with the jinn or has a jinn with him. Yeah. So they'll be like in a car and they'll leave a space empty. So don't sit there because I don't know what the jinn's name was.
Yeah.
So-and-so sitting there. And, you know, my brother's thinking, all right, I don't know if I believe all of this. And then back at their hotel room, he was like, do you want to see the jinn? He will show himself to you. He's like, no. He goes, do you want him to do something then? He goes, okay, can you open the curtains? Whoosh. Curtains opened.
Yeah,
got a match, lit the match, blew the match out. So he was showing him things. And then he said, like, do you want to see it? He's like, no, I won't go that far. He was going to get onto a coach. He told him, don't get on this particular coach at this time. He said, wait, get the next one. The coach that he told him not to get on fell off the side of a cliff. He said, when you go home, he's going to accompany you, make sure everything goes all right. So he went home, nothing happened, went to sleep, woke up next morning, his window was wide open. So we assumed that it left. So it took him home, like he said he would, and then left. So that's probably the wildest story I know about the jinns. But I've had my own experiences as well inside the house. You know, like I was sitting alone in the living room late at night, one night, headphones in, and we had this door. And it's one of those doors that's either shut properly or it's open wide. It can't be ajar. You know, sometimes you can have a door that's closed, but if you just touch it, it will start to open. It's either shut or open completely. It will start to open like that if it wasn't shut properly. It was shut. Right, so I'm just there listening to my music, and keep in mind this is late at night, and it's as if someone slapped the handle, like and then the door slowly started. This is back in the times when I used to live with my siblings, my brothers. So I'm just sitting on the couch there like this now, waiting for this door to slowly open, thinking my brother's gonna be there, trying to wind me up, scare me. No one's there. I walk out, everyone's in bed asleep. I have a lot of similar stories to that. This is like in my old house where I used to live, where I had a music studio in the basement.
Wow.
I used to be a rapper. It took me to recent years for me to start to find my faith again. There was a lot of stuff going on in my house. I had music artists coming round, you know, some of them quite dark auras about them. I had one rapper, I won't mention his name, maybe in a future podcast, quite a fairly well-known UK rhyme MC. And like he's writing his lyrics to this beat I'm playing. And he starts like rocking back and forwards, like in a weird way, like he's summoning something, making weird sort of grunting noises. I look back now and I understand why things started to happen in the house. Yeah, you got to be careful, man.
Absolutely. These jinns, bro, they honestly, it's like they just want to play tricks. That's it. You know, a lot of the time, they just want to maybe, you know, have a laugh, you know? Think about it. I mean, if you was a jinn, right, and no one could see you, I know me, I would play a lot of pranks on people.
If you're a bad one, because we know there's also good ones as well.
Even if I was a good one, I'd still play pranks on people, bro. You know, do you know what I mean? You know, you never know. It could be a child, bro. It could be a little kid. I've seen these videos of, you know, a little kid playing with another kid jinn, and then the mum walks into the room and then it disappears. SubhanAllah. As long as we don't interact with them, we don't go out of our way to try and communicate with them. We know that there's some jinns that are Muslim, mashallah. You know, this is why as well, when you eat, you say Bismillah in the name of Allah anyway, right? But you know when you're eating chicken and you say Bismillah, right? Not only does it stop the shayateen from eating from you, on the bones there's going to be meat for the Muslim jinn in their world. So when you say it, Bismillah, you eat it, after, the Muslim jinns, they have a meal to eat as well.
I've heard this before, that, you know, the jinns eat the bones, or...
There'll be flesh on the bones for them.
They would be able to see it, but we can't. Is that right? How does that work? Because if you've eaten all the chicken... And how does that work?
Well,
is it in their realm? Are we going? It
must be in their realm. Allah knows best how it works. I always ask myself, you know, they say when you forget to say Bismillah, you know how they say the jinn eat with you. Sorry, the shayateen eat with you if you forget to say Bismillah. Well, let's say I'm eating cereal and I forget to say Bismillah. Why isn't there a spoon floating and the food is going up and I'm seeing the cereal being crunched and going down the digestive system? Why isn't it? It must have a totally different realm or different rules or laws to the ones that we have here. Allah knows best how it works.
So Tariq, man, thanks for coming on to Unchained.
Thank you for having me.
You have been unchained. It's been a pleasure, brother.
It's been a pleasure. Assalamu alaikum.